Hold up. Did you guys know that Toothless and Stitch have the same dad? I know it sounds totally crazy, but it's true. They're both like scary monsters with big hearts, they act super similar, and most importantly, they look alike. If you've ever wondered why that is, then today. I watched How to Train Your Dragon a bunch of times to catch all the details you might have missed.
Vespa Berk.
So basically, the movie starts with our main guy doing his whole monologue thing. He's showing us his village, his family, and himself. And here's the thing, Hiccup's name wasn't just random, you know? It has this deeper meaning that fits perfectly into the movie's story. In English, Hiccup means something that interrupts the normal flow of events, just like our main character. Vikings had been living in hatred of dragons for years. They were killing them left and right, until Hiccup showed up and interrupted the normal flow of events. He was this disruption that brought in a new era. If we rewind a bit to the opening credits, there's a Night Fury added to the DreamWorks animation that's super easy to miss. If we slow it down here, we can see Toothless's silhouette. The village suddenly gets attacked by dragons, everyone's fighting, and Hiccup really wants to prove himself, and against all odds, he actually manages to hit a Night Fury. But nobody believes him, cause in Berk, he's basically seen as this total screw-up. Actually, the village name, Berk, in casual English means idiot or dimwit. There's plenty of those living there, so I'm not surprised that's what they called it. In this shot, we see Zippleback, that two-headed dragon based on the Hydra. Notice how one head pumps gas into the house and the other uses sparks to ignite it and blow up the house. Right from the start, the movie shows us how intelligent these dragons are in this universe. Look at what weapon Stoic is using. It's clearly a hammer based on Mjolnir. Mjolnir was one of Thor's most iconic weapons. Toothless's first attack is also really well thought out tactically. First thing he does is destroy all the long-range weapons. He knows he won't be coming down to the ground, so he destroys everything they could use to hit him in the air. He didn't expect Hiccup to pull out that kind of weapon from his workshop though. Stoic goes out to fight the dragon one-on-one. After getting knocked over, his helmet covers one eye, so he adjusts it. Might seem like a small detail, but it's exactly these kinds of things that make all the difference. Hiccup says he hit the Night Fury down by Raven Point. This name also comes from Norse mythology, specifically from Hugin and Munin, Odin's ravens. What might also be important is that in Norse sagas, ravens appeared as harbingers of death. Probably not a coincidence that wounded Toothless fell into a valley whose name foretells death. After the battle, everyone makes fun of Hiccup. We see the other kids for the first time on screen. The twins are here too. If we slow it down, we can see the sister straightening out her brother who's laughing at Hiccup. The village chief comes up with the idea for an expedition, so he calls a meeting where he asks people who's sailing with him. And here we see a wall painting showing a dead dragon with a Viking above it. This shows even more how killing dragons is rooted in their culture. You might have missed that Gobber's silver tooth falls out and drops into his beer. Nice little touch. Anyway, he has a conversation with Stoic that results in Hiccup getting signed up for training, but before that happens, the kid tries to find the Night Fury he hit. While searching Raven Point, he comes across a broken tree. We can also see dragon claw marks on it. He manages to find him, and we see Toothless in all his glory for the first time. Let's pause here for a moment. You guys getting the feeling this is more like a cat than a dragon? Like Batman's cat? The story behind creating this dragon character is pretty awesome. He's based on several animals, black panthers, bats, and cats. His behavior shows how many traits of these animals he has. Here he's making his bed with his paws just like cats do. Here he's trying to sleep like a bat. There's even a video floating around the internet that the creators, before animating the scene where they attach the prosthetic to his tail and he goes crazy, first taped a cat's tail to see how it would behave. The director even admitted they were inspired by Totoro, that creature from Studio Ghibli's animation. But what's best is that his appearance might remind you of Stitch, and that's no coincidence. Both characters were designed by the same person, Chris Sanders. The director's style is very recognizable. Big eyes, rounded shapes, short snout, wide facial expressions. All this makes his monsters not scary, but likable. And even though one is a space experiment and the other is a mythical dragon, their emotionality is very similar. Both characters are monsters that seem dangerous at first glance, but under the mask turn out to be sensitive and intelligent. This is actually a great trope that psychologically affects the viewer. Even though they look like monsters, they remind many of us of our pets. Hiccup tries to kill him but can't, then says these words.
I did this.
Remember them, because they'll connect to an important detail later in the movie. Hiccup frees Toothless and goes back home. His father sails away and training begins. During the fight, Fishlegs lists dragon characteristics on a numerical scale. This is breaking the fourth wall since this rating system comes from classic RPG games. Training doesn't go as planned for our heroes, so Hiccup flies to Toothless, where he notices his tail is damaged, so he looks through the dragon encyclopedia. Let's pause. These letters aren't random symbols. The text is written in Futhorc, a variant of the Old English runic alphabet that can be deciphered and read. I did it, and it just says exactly what the main character is reading, copied and pasted several times. Bit disappointing. The Vikings sail on their expedition. On one ship's mast is a Viking breathing fire. Also, does this guy remind you of anyone? He should, because it's Spitelout Jorgensen, Snotlout's father. Hiccup strengthens his relationship with Toothless. He brings him food and plays with him. Look how the dragon got so excited about the drawing that he even started walking on two legs. Actually, there's a great detail with drawing the Night Fury itself. The first time we see his artistic skills, the drawing doesn't look great, just some scribbles. But if we look at the scene from How to Train Your Dragon 3, we notice how much his craft has developed. Just look at the comparison of these two works. After a few days, Toothless finally lets himself be petted, and Hiccup wants to create a tail prosthetic for him. Let's pause. Here we see a drawing that's a reference to Back to the Future and the famous flux capacitor. Hiccup learns to fly and progresses in training, which makes him popular in the village. Toothless shows another cat-like behavior where he follows a beam of light, and one of the twins, seeing the dragon, says, "He's smaller than mine." You know what he meant. I'll let you figure out the rest. We move to one of the movie's best scenes, the first flight. Right from the start, there are complications, and the kid barely escapes alive because he saves the cheat sheet. Notice he throws it away anyway. Suddenly, little dragons fly up. Listen to how they sound. The creators admitted they used sounds from the legendary Chihuahua Paco for their sound effects. The dog sadly passed away some time ago. Actually, the place they're in resembles Giant's Causeway on the coast of Northern Ireland. We can tell by those characteristic hexagonal rocks. Dad returns to the village and is proud of his son, who became the crowd favorite while he was away. He could do things with dragons that other Vikings never dreamed of. He understood that dragons have animal instincts and used chin scratches on them, or the light beam I mentioned earlier. Hiccup wins the contest and gets the chance to kill his first dragon. Nobody knows yet that he doesn't want to do it at all. Meanwhile, Astrid follows him and discovers Toothless's hideout, but doesn't know yet that he'll become her friend too. A pretty dangerous ride begins where our heroes get closer, but I want to focus on something else. These flying scenes are very authentic because DreamWorks animators consulted with experts on birds of prey, gliders, and aerobatic pilots. Toothless's flight was supposed to resemble natural maneuvers, but Toothless's flights have an even deeper meaning. In the first movie, flight becomes a metaphor for trust. The moment when Hiccup closes his eyes and lets himself be carried through the skies is like a leap of faith, like in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. In the second part, flights become more complex, Valka and her dragons appear, and airspace becomes a place of conflict, dominance, and freedom. In the third one, flight takes on spiritual meaning, moving from the physical level to almost divine. Wait, is Hiccup super similar to Luke Skywalker? Am I the only one seeing this? I searched around the net and found out that Dean DeBlois said he was somewhat inspired by Skywalker. Our heroes fly into fog and find themselves in the center of a flock of dragons flying to the Red Death. If we pause here, we'll notice one of the dragons is carrying a hippo. That's pretty weird since hippos don't really exist in Scandinavia. Actually, it's a reference to Madagascar and the hippo is Gloria. The creators officially confirmed this. The final boss appears on screen for the first time, and the place turns out to be a dragon nest. Hiccup and Astrid return to Berk because the young one has to ritually kill a dragon. Unfortunately, he can't do it. This pisses off the old man, who enrages the dragon. The young one survives thanks to Toothless, but there are consequences. The Fury gets caught and ends up as a navigator leading to Dragon Island. The Vikings want to finish off the reptiles once and for all, but they don't know what they're getting into and land in front of the Red Death. The youngsters come to their rescue on their dragons. In this shot, pay attention to Stoic's lip movement. Even though there's no sound, we can read what the fuck from them, though he doesn't say that last part. The crew works together to defeat the Red Death, and Hiccup flies to help the drowning Toothless. Stoic finally switches to the good side and frees the Black Dragon. This scene gives me chills every time. Our heroes weaken the Red Death and finish him off by burning him from the inside. The hero who never killed a dragon before now took out the most powerful one. When the dust settles, everyone thinks Hiccup is dead. Stoic is devastated and says these words.
I did this.
Right here, we're not watching a cartoon about dragons anymore, but a story about the mistakes we make and how much we want to fix them. At the beginning of the movie, I told you to remember something. Father and son say exactly the same sentence.
I did this. I did this.
Though it's only 3 words, they carry huge meaning because these exact same words are spoken earlier by Hiccup when he finds wounded Toothless after his attack. It's a phenomenal screenwriting device showing a mirror reflection, a comparison of father and son. In both these moments, the heroes admit their mistake. Hiccup hurt Toothless and Stoic hurt his son. This creates a beautiful narrative frame, from the moment Hiccup doesn't fit into the Viking world to when that world starts changing under his influence. Hiccup wakes up from his coma, unfortunately without a leg, but he knows that Berk has now become a better place. Everyone's flying on dragons, and here we can notice how a gust of wind spilled a Viking's beer. This is a reference to Top Gun. This is a fantastic movie. I remember watching it as a kid and liking it, but only these recent viewings showed me it's not just an animation about cool flying and dragons, but a beautiful story about trust, fatherhood, and the desire to change. And soon there's a live-action movie premiere. I hope they don't follow Disney's path and make a plastic version of it. But who knows? I'll record a review anyway, so to not miss it.